writing that it's very hard. I know I'm killing trees and I feel so bad, but I like to write notes.
Yes. Perfect. Garlid.
Mhm.
Okay. Hello, I'm Ian Schell, and it's July 15th, 2021, and I'm sitting here with Doreen Garlid of the Tempe City Council, and I already said the date. So
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Just to start off with some basic questions. When did you move to Tempe, or were you born here?
Nope, I was not born here. My dad was in the Navy, and so I lived all up along the coast of California. And I moved here in 1976, and I've been living in the Valley area. Grew up in Gilbert, graduated from Gilbert High School. Met my husband in Tempe, and we bought a house in Tempe. We were married here, had our children here. So I've been here since 1978.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet it was a lot different back then.
You know, it's one of those really hard things that you don't want to be like your parents say, way back when there was one stoplight in Gilbert. But I find myself doing that sometimes now. It's like, gosh, the city of Tempe has grown up so quickly. It's beautiful though.
Living in the Valley, I'm just 26, and I noticed that too. And I would say, especially about Tempe with all the growth.
Yes.
As far as the growth in Tempe goes, is there some things that are more welcome than other things?
I think I like the diversity and the change. I like the mixture of people of all different ages and cultural backgrounds. So I like that now it seems like in the city of Tempe that we're really paying attention to other cultural backgrounds. So I love learning about how other people grew up, or how their grandparents grew up, or how the original founders of the city of Tempe or pioneers of Tempe, how they, lived here, how they survived here when it's so hot. So I'm learning a lot about that, but I enjoy that.
Definitely. So the heat is definitely a factor, and has the addition of Tempe Town Lake been a plus or a minus in your
I think it's been a plus for the city of Tempe because of all the activities and the things that we can do down there now that we didn't have before. So I think that's a plus. I think that if you live downtown Tempe and you're used to not a lot of traffic, that might be a little different for you. But I think the Tempe Town Lake has been wonderful.
So the next question as far as Tempe Town Lake goes is, have you ever been in Tempe Town Lake?
No, I have been all around Tempe Town Lake. I have to take that back. I have been in Tempe Town Lake. I did a triathlon there, and I was in Tempe Town Lake, and it was a very interesting experience.
I believe it. So we talked about some of the things that you've loved about seeing the growth of Tempe. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you wish you could go back in time and kind of warn people against?
Warn them against, I would say growing too fast. I would warn them against. But you know what I would really like to know to look back is, I would really like to go back and see honestly how they survived in the heat. So there is some studies that are being done. There's a group at the ASU called the Indigenous Design Collaborative. And what they have done is they take students at ASU and they research native tribes and how they actually, Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, specifically right here, and how did they survive? And if you look, the houses were built in a certain, north, south, east, west, certain way. The shade structure outside was built. All of them were in a certain section. The gardens were in a certain area. And why did they do that? Well, they did that because that's the way they figured out that they could survive, and their plants could survive, and their families could survive. So those are the things, if I could go back, that's the thing I'd really like to understand. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know that more of how they did that. And the amazing thing is looking at the strength of those people to what they survived through, what they went through to be here, I think is absolutely incredible. And I would give them all hugs and shake their hands and tell them they're amazing.
Yes, that's awesome.
We're of strong stock is what I like to think about.
The history of the Valley is really awesome, especially if you've been to the Herd Museum in downtown Phoenix and seen some of that. As far as a lot of the cultures that are kind of mixing together in Tempe, is there anything that you like to do on weekends that kind of ties into all of that?
I think trying to attend as many different events in the city as I can, so that it's not so much even the culture, it's the age difference. It's listening to different musics in the city of Tempe. There's great places to go listen to music. And I think that, and I think the cultural activities, right now there's not a lot of outdoor activities that you can really go and pay attention to, but in the cooler months, there are so many things that you can do in the city of Tempe that I really enjoy, that you can learn about other cultures and music. And Tempe is known for their music, or they were years ago when I was in high school, about their incredible music scene. And I think it's one of those things, the music and the art of the city of Tempe is coming back, and that is such a great thing for us to have.
That's awesome. Would somebody like to sell in for me here?
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'll tell you that we did, so when I got on the city council, I met with Lauren Kuby, and my fellow colleague, and she had talked about wanting to do a land acknowledgement agreement for the city of Tempe, acknowledging the land that we are standing on was culturally inhabited by the native tribes around here. Mm-hmm. And she had talked about it to City Hall and other council members, and it didn't go anywhere. But now, having their first Native American on council, she and I talked about it, and we kind of moved that forward, and then we were able to get it passed in January. So now, culturally, for the Native Americans, we have given them the opportunity to raise their head high, that we are acknowledging that they were the first people here.
Definitely.
For me, culturally, that was something really significant and really spectacular. And the amazing thing was that after we did that, I had more emails and phone calls from non-natives than I did from natives, saying that was a really wonderful thing that we did. The city of Tempe, I'm proud to live here, and that made me really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know I've been a native of Arizona my whole life, and I love the place names that have been given to certain, especially geographic features in Arizona. Yes. And so specifically, I know Pyle Peak is actually called by the Pima like Iron Mountain, and so it would be cool to see places like Hayden Butte, for example, if there's names like that in the native tongue.
So that's one of the things that I'm working on, is working with the four southern nations to come up with a list of names that if we have a new street or a new building or something, that we could pull from that list and use the native name. I was specifically asking not for names of people, but names of things. So like if you think about the Kyrene School District has Kyrene Pueblo Middle School and Kyrene de los Lomos, but they have, there's a lot of different names that are not names of people, that I would love to see us try to make some of those acknowledgements if we can.
And then on a humorous note, I know you said you have some Irish background.
Yes.
So are you sad to hear the news about Rule Ebola?
You know what, that is actually kind of sad. I'm sad, for me, I'm really sad that any business closes or leaves the city of Tempe. It's so important for us to have those small mom and pop stores and restaurants and places for us to be able to go to, that losing any of those, honestly, it breaks my heart, because I owned a small business a number of years ago, and the amount of time and heart that you put into that, I know what they're probably feeling when they lose those, and that just makes me really sad. So having them go move, or any business, is really hard.
Yes, especially after COVID.
I know, and we were just out to lunch with my kids, and we were just talking about the local businesses. My son just returned from Switzerland 2 nights ago. He was going to school there, and he said he took a drive today. He couldn't believe how many restaurants and stores and things that he used to go to are closed. So that's a really sad thing.
So is there something in all the years you've lived here that has been a constant that you've enjoyed seeing over the decades?
I think the constant for me is enjoying meeting new people. And so before I was on city council, I was a Girl Scout PTO Little League mom. So I loved meeting people, and I loved taking part in all the volunteer things I could do. And I think the point for me right now, the changes or anything that we see in the city of Tempe, for me right now, it's being a part of it, serving others and continuing to do that, and sharing that with my kids, those are the things that I look at that I'm so proud of in the past, and so proud of our city that we're doing now.
That's awesome. So since you have come to Tempe, have you mostly stayed in the same area, or have you lived in all parts of the city?
Same house.
Oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, we've been in the same house, and you know what's funny is that my my son's back from Switzerland, so he's going to be back home for a few months before he goes out and does the job hunting thing. But we look around at the house, and we raised 4 kids here. You know, we had football parties in the backyard and Girl Scout meetings, and now it's just the 2 of us in this house, and it just seems way too big. But the thought of leaving that house with all the memories, oh my goodness, it breaks my heart. But we just don't need a house like that anymore. So I don't know, we haven't thought about what we're going to do in the future, but it's definitely staying in the city of Tempe, because my heart's here.
Mm-hmm. Tempe's a great city. And did you or a family member go to ASU while you've been living here?
So yes. So my oldest son went to NAU, my number 2 daughter went to U of A, and my 3rd son went to ASU. So we have all 3 of the colleges taken care of.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my 4th child went to U of A, decided he didn't want to do college, and went to trade school. So he's a heating and cooling now.
So you always win the territorial cup at your house.
Oh yeah, no matter who was playing. They have those hats and shirts that say, house divided. Mm-hmm. My sister was so sweet. She got me a necklace that had it broken into 3 pieces, and I had all 3 colleges on it. Yeah. Okay,
so I'm assuming that you must be a fan of the expanding role there in size of the college in town. But I mean, feel free to prove me wrong here.
I think there's a great partnership with ASU, mm-hmm. but I think there's also areas where we have to set boundaries. Where we have to have mm-hmm. a separation of ASU and the city of Tempe and the residents that we have here. But there's a lot of great partnerships that we do. One of them that we just worked on was the wastewater program that we have for the city of Tempe. That we worked with ASU to test wastewater. And there's 2 things that we did. It was originally started to find out where opioids were concentrated in our community, and we were able to find that through wastewater, and then we were able to target that area with information on how they can protect each other. The schools can look out more for their students, or for the parents can look out for their kids. Then when COVID came, it was absolutely incredible that we were able to shift that, and we were able to test wastewater throughout the community. And again, it's in partnership with ASU. We never would have been able to do this, and found the area in the city of Tempe where we had a high concentration of COVID in that area, and really concentrate our messaging on COVID and getting shots and social distancing and wearing masks like that. Mm-hmm. But that partnership would never happen if we wouldn't have had that partnership with ASU. So I think there's a lot of great things that we have because of ASU, but I do also believe that we need to have those boundaries that allow them to be ASU and us to be a city. Oh,
that's awesome. So it's obvious that you care a lot about Tempe, and that mm-hmm. you've grown as a person and grown up here. Mm-hmm. As you are growing up in politics, was there a reason that you got into it in the first place? Is there one reason that you ran for office, or was it just your sheer love?
I think volunteering and serving the community in different organizations. I was president of the National Charity League for a long time, and we did a lot of service work in the city of Tempe. I realized there's a lot of service needs, a lot of human services needs, and I ran because I feel like I tell myself every day, what else can I do? I can do more, I can do more, I can do more. I say that to myself all the time. So wanting to run for office, realizing that I could do more and I could help more if I took this next step. And what's wonderful is that the mayor was very helpful and saw that for me, and so he put me on the Human Services and Community Safety Committee. Mm-hmm. And so my daily job now is really looking out for all the human services things that we could do. The Family Advocacy Center has been working really hard for a really long time. Family Advocacy Commission working to try to get a center here where we could bring people who have been raped or abused, but have all the services that they need in one area where they're safe and they're comfortable. We're doing that now through our committee. We're actually put it in our budget. It's going to get started. We're looking for a building right now. So, and then being able to find ways to recognize that we need more people out on the street to help with our homeless. And knowing that that's something that we needed to do here, we brought it to our council. Our council agreed to get 2 more positions for the Care 7. Working with ASU said, we'll fund 2 more positions. We got 4 new positions that are coming to help us. So I feel like that my heart to serve and care for others has just been expanded with the city of Tempe, and I just feel like I have so many other opportunities to be able to do that here, and I literally wake up in the morning excited about what I can do to help somebody else.
That's really awesome. So you've just kind of more empowered yourself to take that volunteering to the next level, and through economies of scale, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's great. Would anybody else like that?
Just take care.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much again, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my partner here jump
You
in.
did great. Thank you
Yeah,
so
that
much.
was terrific.
Yeah.